The St. Louis Blues make a shocking signing by bringing in a former Stanley Cup champion on a professional tryout with the club. But not only that, this one key free agent is looking perfect to fit the St. Louis Blues and would change the entire blue line heading into next season. We're going to break down this shot that had fans double checking the tweets and even more on this one key free agent that Doug Armstrong has to be in on going into next season, and so much more later on in this episode. Before we hop into that, if you're part of the 52.3% watching this and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure to go down and hit it. It helps us out a ton, and in return, we'll give you updates from all around the Blues, not only this offseason or on signings, but everything, including game recaps heading into next season. But with that, let's just hop straight into it today, where we did see a bit of a shocking signing today. The St. Louis Blues announced they've signed Milan Lucic to professional tryout. Now with this, I looked at it. I looked 3 times and said, am I looking right? Is it April 1st? But no, we're in the middle of August and the St. Louis Blues are up to something a little strange, and fans had been questioning Doug Armstrong on this move. Now the big thing with Lucic, there is a lot to like, and there's probably a clear-cut picture of what's going to happen with him, and we're going to break all that down in this video. But Lucic, 37 years old, has not been in the league since 23-24. I'm not going to touch on any of the off-ice stuff with Lucic, but looking at him as a hockey player, there is a bit of intriguing stuff to add with this player. Now, we only played 4 games with the Boston Bruins, 4 years previous to that, playing with the Calgary Flames, scoring 10 goals in back-to-back seasons, having a 7-goal. Lucic is going to be a bottom 6 and most likely a 4th liner if joining this Blues team. As I said, 6'3", 226 pounds. He adds a lot to a team with Stanley Cup champion pedigree, where he won it with the Boston Bruins, and someone with a lot of games under his belt. And this is exactly what the St. Louis Blues organization needs to do, is add people with experience as this team goes and wants to get into a hunt to win a Stanley Cup yet again. Now, the biggest thing with Lucic, we know he's going to throw the body quite a bit. 12 hits in 4 games with the Boston Bruins, 77 games prior to that, 168. He's someone that's going to hit his opponents every single night out of physicality and the Stanley Cup champion experience. He did score back-to-back 20-goal seasons, but that was all the way in 2015, 2016. With this, it's a bit of a question and move. They're bringing in a guy that has not played hockey for quite some time, someone that hasn't been able to hit the 10 to 20 goal plateau in quite some time as well. But Lucic does add a certain edge to this team, and it's going to be intriguing what they end up doing with it. Now, the big thing is Jim Montgomery, who did coach Lucic for those 4 games with the Boston Bruins. We know he likes his players, and we see a lot of coaches around the league. They have the guys that they do like, guys that they've had within their systems before. And maybe Lucic is the type of player that Jim Montgomery looks at and says, hey, I know what he can do. I've watched him before. I coached him for a stint, the training camp into the preseason. This is the type of guy that could add a certain edge to this team. And listen, we've seen the reports linking the Bruins all the way to Pavel Zacha. We've seen the Casey Middlestat to a lesser extent. But with this, Jim Montgomery is going to add in a lot of players in the system he likes. And we know Boston was a heavy style for the Eastern Conference, and maybe Lucic is a piece that he does want to add. Now, going further into it, looking at the lineup, there's not a lot of room to add Lucic in, especially anywhere near that top 9. If you want to bring Lucic in, sign him to the NHL contract. He would be a guy that you can rotate in with Nathan Walker if you want to give him a few games off. A tough-nosed player that's going to throw a lot of hits. Walker being a tiny bit smaller but not afraid of anyone. And Lucic would come in as a 6'3", 230-pound player, and probably more than that at this point, that could fill in that bottom 6 if something does happen. Now listen, I would not like Lucic on the 3rd line, but there is a bit of value adding someone like this as an extra forward on the vet minimum that could help the Blues in their quest. Now, the biggest thing is, we know the Stanley Cup experience. We've seen him win a cup with the Bruins in 2011, 136 total games in the Stanley Cup Finals, 450 hits over that span. Lucic can bring in that experience to a Blues team and just falling back as soon as I can find it into the lineup in a pretty young Blues core. Now, there is a more definite picture that I'm going to cover shortly, but looking at the forward group, there's a lot of young guys within this list. Down the middle, Schenn, Suter, and Bukestad are vets that can add within this organization, and they're a lot better than Lucic. I will make that very clear. But adding in a winger that can put toughness into the lineup does get kind of intriguing for the Blues, but I think the clear-cut picture would be signing him to this player tryout, bringing him in and letting him play with Springfield. Now, looking at Springfield, there is a lot of young talent. Luff is a guy that's 28, and even going through, most guys are under 24 or 25 years old. Adding in Lucic would add an enforcer to cover the backs of the rookies in the AHL, add some experience to the group as well. This is where I think he would be better suited within the organization. And if you need to sign him to an NHL contract, bearing any injuries, sure, you can do this as well. But I do expect Lucic, if sticking around with the St. Louis Blues, to be a part of this Springfield team, wanting to add grizzled vets to their young group so they can learn and get experience from these guys. But what's your thoughts on the signing? Listen, I was shocked seeing this. As I said, we know it's the middle of August. I thought it was April 1st. What is your thoughts on the Lucic signing? Would you like him on the fourth line? Would you wish he just wasn't signed with the organization on the tryout? Or would you like to see him with Springfield, working with the young guys throughout the system? But with that, let's just hop straight into the second topic today, where there's a lot of remaining players in the free agency market. We know the top four to be Jack Roslovic, a center, and the Blues don't need to add a player like this within the system. But when going back into the group, there is a bit of a question mark with the young players within the organization on the blue line. Campbell, Parayko, Broberg, and Falk all have NHL experience, but bringing in Mayu and Tucker as two guys that need to play important minutes, maybe adding a veteran to the lineup would make sense. And that's where Matt Grzelcyk comes in as, once again, a former Boston Bruin that has played with Jim Montgomery or in his system, and just coming off a 40-point season with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, a -6 with the Penguins, we knew how bad they were this year. I don't like to look at plus-minus of a team that isn't playing well, but the biggest thing is Matt Grzelcyk coming in as probably the top available free agent, coming off his $4 million deal or $2.7 million deal with the Penguins just last year. He has yet to been signed, 31 years old. He has experience, putting up 40 points the last season, having quite a few games under his belt, just 527. Getting Grzelcyk into this lineup would add something new to the blue line, someone that can put up points, but also with experience. We've seen it throughout his career. He's not going to go out and throw the most hits or block the most shots, though having 101 last year in 82 games, but still adding experience to the blue line would make total sense for this Blues team, as they are lacking a lot of experience on that third pairing, unless they're looking at moving Tucker up within the lineup, or Mayu taking a huge step, which we haven't seen in his career yet. Blues fans, what is your thoughts on all this? Go ahead and leave a comment on not only Lucic, but what free agent intrigued you the most if they go to sign another PTO or another player that they're just going to look at to add to this lineup full-time. Let us know down below. And speaking of down below in the comments, we're going to go straight into comments of the day. And this was talking on the Ellis rumor, where we did see the Edmonton Oilers poking around, looking to add more. And Matt goes in to say, dealing with strength to someone in need. I trust you guys making decisions. Steen taking notes. This is a group of management of Steen and Armstrong that I trust a lot. Yes, there is some questionable things, but at the end of the day, we trust Armstrong, and Steen's in line to take over. What's your guys' thoughts on how this management group has winning this year? I mean, I've been loving the moves they're making with Bukestad, Suter, bringing in key players to add within this lineup. Let us know down below. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. I'm trying to deal with the flu here, trying to get through this, so hopefully you guys enjoy this. Go ahead and leave a comment. But that'd be it for this episode. Take care, Blues fans.